皆様大変お待たせいたしました。ただいまよりメディア&エンターテインメントトラック ME-03 企業に成長をもたらすネットアップと AWS によるハイブリッドクラウドアーキテクチャを開演いたします。講演はネットアップシニアディレクタークラウドビジネスグループボブ谷口様です。それでは谷口様、よろしくお願いいたします。
Hello. First, I'll introduce myself for a moment. I'm Bob Taniguchi. I'm the Japanese who doesn't speak Japanese, so my apologies first to begin with. Secondly, I want to thank our excellent translation team in the back. So if you need translation, if you listen to my English and you speak English and you still don't understand me, I'll understand if you get a translation unit. So thank you for coming today. Today we're going to talk about NetApp and our suite of cloud products. Some of you are probably wondering, well, I'm an American. I do American things. So I'm going to start with a question for all of you. How many of you in the audience today are NetApp customers? Okay. How many of you in the room today have already launched applications on AWS? Okay. How many of you in the audience today plan to have applications or data in AWS sometime this year or next year? Okay, a few more. Okay, I think everybody's still a little asleep from lunch today. So who is NetApp? For those of you who don't know, we're a very large data storage company in several markets around the world. We're actually the #1 company. By definition, in the broader storage marketplace, we're the #2 company in the world. I won't mention the other company's name here. We're here today to talk about the step that we've taken to embrace the change that the cloud is bringing. Just like Amazon.com changed forever the way that, at least in the United States, we purchase books, and now today purchase anything online, they're doing once again with AWS. And as a company, NetApp embraces change. And so what we're endeavoring to do is bring our knowledge and our significant experience working with data at large scale to the cloud and enable your products and your solutions. Just a minute about me. I'm a senior director. I actually manage the global relationship between NetApp and Amazon for the AWS team. I previously worked at BlackBerry and product managed the IoT products there and spent much of my career at Microsoft in various groups there. So today, NetApp has a significant customer base in media companies. They range from media broadcast to media production to newer media companies, like the internet. You even find that NetApp products are being used in ways that are interesting and novel. And it's my objective today to walk you through use cases and demonstrate several examples of how our products are being used today to enable our other media company customers around the world on their journey to the cloud. We believe that the cloud is actually not singular. We believe that there are actually 3 different types of clouds that exist today. The one at the bottom, the private cloud, a lot of us probably called that a few years ago just your internet site, right? Just a website. The green cloud, a lot of these are the first generation managed service providers, or today we categorize them putting software as a service vendors into the cloud service providers. But the reason we're here today is to talk about what we call the hyperscale cloud providers. That includes Amazon. These are the largest volume, at scale, global cloud providers in the world today. Media companies, like other enterprise companies, have very similar use cases. You're in business to do business. The use cases primarily lump into two different segments. One is to support your compute, your elastic compute. The second is to protect your data, to ensure business continuity. We're going to talk about 4 different scenarios today from this list. We're not going to do all of them today. And I hope to show you, how our products can help you as you migrate your applications and your data to the cloud. Our first use case is Major League Baseball. Back in 2007, Major League Baseball decided that they would be the 4th major sport in the United States to have their very own cable TV channel. MLB.com and MLB Network are the 2 main media properties of Major League Baseball. So Major League Baseball, once they undertook this as a business objective, decided that they also had several technical objectives that they wanted to fulfill at the same time. One, Major League Baseball, their media properties were spread throughout the New Jersey and New York, East Coast of the United States region. So one key objective was to consolidate the data centers together. The second was to make all of the video that's created from this new system available for MLB.com, published to YouTube, as well as the various teams' websites around the country. And the other interesting requirement that this system had, or has, is to be able to publish the clips quickly for use by the 24/7, all day, every day during baseball season MLB channel broadcast. On the people and resource side, Major League Baseball had a requirement to enable them to scale their team up and down as needed by using some new technology to run their applications remotely. Today, this network serves nearly 70 million homes in the United States. Their launch was successful. How did they do it? So let's take a look at the major components of this system architecture. One, there are 30 teams in Major League Baseball. So that means during baseball season, it's possible to have 15 different games running at the same time. Each game is covered by a minimum of 7 HD TV cameras. All of that data is flowing into the private cloud that Major League Baseball TV created. So their one internet site is the repository for all the live HD signal of the baseball games being played literally around the world. Their second key requirement was to remote their NLE, their nonlinear editing suite, and their tools to run them remote from their new server data farm. What this allowed them to do was to consolidate to one consistent tool set, and the second requirement was to allow them to scale the staff up and down as required easily, and they achieved that by using the private cloud implementation. The final requirement, and one that the AWS team talked about in their keynote session this morning, was the real-time delivery to the customer through the TV channel or the mobile app. So if any of you are baseball fans, if you follow any of the Major League Baseball teams on your phone, all of the clips that are published in real time come from this system. So the key results. So Major League Baseball was successful in the launch of the product. Today, they have a system that has a storage capacity of 2.8 petabytes of data. In addition, to support other one-off projects, they have an additional 360 terabytes in a lab environment. I think the biggest win, though, for Major League Baseball was the ability to virtualize all of the video editing apps that allows them to both add staff, move staff, even have staff work remotely around the world and create the video products that we all see when we follow our Major League Baseball team. So as a proof point, today, Major League Baseball tags and processes over 4,200 hours of video per week. I think this was a successful implementation and a good example of how to use the private cloud to support your other cloud products. Case study number 2 is a global media company that's headquartered in the Asia-Pacific region. This company owns several different types of media properties: print, broadcast, online media. And the company grew very rapidly through acquisition. And as you know, when you acquire companies, every time you do this, you acquire a new set of IT infrastructure. So they had different applications. They have different processes. They had different data centers. And in fact, just one simple thing, and this was the genesis, the very first project that they undertook, was to allow all of their print media companies to share one photo store, right, to have a single image repository. So the technical requirements for this solution were to consolidate the apps and image repository. They wanted to avoid building out any more costly data centers and translate that capital expense to operational expense. And they also wanted to streamline the management capabilities of their new data center design. So how did this solution look? So the very first thing that this company did was they created, by using an on-premise existing FAS product, they hooked it up to the cloud using Cloud ONTAP. Cloud ONTAP is our cloud version of our storage product that runs today on top of AWS and is already available in the AWS marketplace. By doing this, what they allowed their worldwide team to do is to post an image to their local FAS. It is automatically replicated to the cloud, and then every other operating company around the world automatically receives a copy of that image. Our ONTAP product also helps you manage your storage use in the cloud efficiently, so that there's only ever one copy of the image that resides up in the cloud. Even if that same image is submitted up by several different operating divisions of the company, there will only be one image that's stored up in the cloud. The second requirement about dev test, the company intends to have 75% of all of their applications running in the cloud. This is still a work in progress. What they're doing is today they're using a dev test environment using Cloud ONTAP. Cloud ONTAP allows you to very quickly create a duplicate data set at almost zero cost. So if you're planning to implement a test environment in the cloud and you want your teams to very quickly access sample data sets, what Cloud ONTAP allows you to do is to make a copy of that by only copying the metadata, right? And then any change data comes in and is saved separately. So that allows you to have one core set of data resident in ONTAP, and sort of as needed, your dev teams can make copy of that data to do development work or test work on the system. Finally, both the images and the apps deliver the data to the customer devices. It's a global delivery. It takes advantage of Amazon's reach around the world. This is truly a global media company, so regardless of the device or the way that you're consuming their media, this system publishes out to the endpoint. Key results. For phase 1, creating the image repository, that's completed. They were successfully able to integrate their on-premise NetApp FASs with Cloud ONTAP, to create something I like to call it Dropbox for pictures, right? But on a global basis. The second thing that they're doing right now is they're selecting which applications on their global network of companies to move to the cloud. And by doing so, they publish that once, and every operating company in their family gets access to that very same instance of the application, right? So proof of that is, as they've been doing dev tests and migrating apps to production, their time to actually provision and take into production the application has gone from weeks to merely hours. Once again, a successful deployment. This time it was an all-in from on-premise to the Amazon cloud. This is my first Japanese company use case, Konica Minolta. I think many companies around the world learned from the tsunami the importance of having a very, very clear business continuity policy. It's not enough to have very thorough and very well-planned on-premise backup or even multi-site within your country. Today, with companies operating globally like Konica Minolta, you have to make your business data available around the world constantly. So that means you really have to think through your business continuity plan. You have to make sure that your data is backed up in multiple geographic regions. And so that's what Konica Minolta did, is they've updated their business continuity plan, and they're moving their business critical backup data to the cloud, taking advantage of the geographic separation that the AWS network provides. What does the solution look like? In normal operation, they used our Alta Vault. It was formerly called Steel Store, if you know about the Riverbed acquisition we made. That replaced their tape backup target. So data from the existing backup applications goes to our Alta Vault appliance on-premise, and from there moves up to S3 or to Glacier, the AWS long-term storage in the cloud. This was a very seamless implementation. All they had to do was change the backup target, and the system is instantly up and running. In a disaster case, to continue to protect the data that's running in your global operation, we also have a software version of our backup appliance. Today, on the AWS Marketplace, we have an AMI, a virtual version of our same storage appliance that's available today in the AWS Marketplace. And so what they do, if any of their on-premise locations go down, data that's still being acquired or being sent to that location is automatically redirected to the cloud. So that business data continues to be captured, even if the on-premise backup appliance itself fails. So Alta Vault is an interesting product. As an appliance, a hardware appliance, it's probably the easiest, and if you're just beginning your journey to the cloud, it's the simplest first step you can take to implement part of your cloud journey using the Alta Vault product. It has two very interesting operating characteristics. First, it, like every other NetApp product, it minimizes your storage expense in the cloud. So it dedupes all the data that you send up through the appliance or even the AMI version to the cloud. So this minimizes or allows you to control your expense that you pay for storage in the cloud. It also makes your use of the network in the cloud much more efficient. The second thing that's important, and this is something to consider as you think about your business continuity plan. What AltaVault does is it takes advantage of your own security key so that the data is encrypted at the appliance, and that encryption is then transferred on a secure and encrypted channel, and then written by AWS, which again applies its encryption. But the data going into AWS is already encrypted, right? So you are not at the mercy of the security of the cloud or the link. You control the data security at the point of origin at the network appliance device, our AltaVault device. So, in a nutshell, I've shown you several use cases of how to use our hybrid solutions to transform your enterprise. To support your compute environment, we have Cloud ONTAP. Again, I'm going to do an American thing. My apologies. How many of you know what NetApp private storage is out in the audience? I'm not getting any hands at all. Okay. Okay, I got one. Thank you. 2. I will explain to you through my final use case a great example of what NetApp private storage is. As you move to backup and disaster recovery, we again have you covered. You have AltaVault for backup, both appliance and in the cloud. And if you have the need for object storage, we can also target S3 and Glacier as a tier from our object storage appliance. So much like AltaVault, the SteelStore product, it's an appliance that you install in your data center, and it allows you to tier your data and to send whichever data tier is appropriate through policy, through inspection, up to the AWS cloud. Okay, so Cloud ONTAP is used for certain use cases. We think it's appropriate for disaster recovery, for dev test and DevOps, and to support analytics. We believe that NetApp private storage is good for things that have high IOPS, that have high regulatory requirements on your data handling. If you have needs for I'm not exactly sure what business continuity case this would be, but if you have the needs to connect your data to more than one cloud at a time, then NPS is a solution that will work for you as well. Okay, so let's talk about our final use case. This is a Japanese semiconductor and electronic design firm. They have some very, very unique challenges. If you take a look at the graph on the bottom, this shows their resource consumption in support of their computer-aided engineering environment. And you'll notice that for part of the year, they're below their capacity level. And then throughout the rest of the year, they exceeded their capacity level significantly. So this causes two things, as all of you in the room know. One is that there's contention for scarce resources. How do you solve it? You add more hardware, you incur more cost. Secondly, what happens is that your operations team is under pressure. How do you solve it? You add more people? Well, you don't want to add more people costs to the equation. So what they're looking for as a solution is to have an elastic compute environment, to be able to burst and have compute respond to the needs of the system. They want to be able to control the use of their resources, both people as well as their compute and data resource. And finally, they want to relieve this contention. So if this is a pattern that's going to continue to exist, their new data center design and processes are going to be implemented to solve this use case. Okay, so here's what happened. NetApp offers for free for you the use of a proof of concept lab that we've built out on Equinix. So in 5 data centers around the world, we have a NetApp private storage implementation built out. So what is NPS? NPS is a NetApp filer that's placed into a co-location facility. Our partner here is Equinix. Equinix provides you direct access to Amazon through a fiber channel, and Amazon calls this product Direct Connect. So that gives you, in many locations, sub 3 millisecond access from your storage array in the Equinix colo facility to the Amazon EC2 compute, okay? So what that means is that you can solve your IOPS problem, you can solve your data management problem, you can solve your data sovereignty problem by putting the NetApp unit into Equinix, and it's always under your control. If you need to, you can have a backhaul and connect your premise to the same data center and have the data replicating back, to your facility. So in this way, you can keep a always correct, always on, always ready to go instance of your data to take advantage of burst compute through EC2, okay? So that's what this proof of concept is all about. What they did is they took their design, they put it up into 2 different segments. They take advantage of our proof of concept lab built on top of our NetApp FAS, and it's going through Direct Connect. We actually have a Direct Connect lab located right here in Tokyo, right? So you can test this out yourself. If you want to try this, get in touch with any of our NetApp local sales team. So the test was successful. They were able to do 2 things. One, they were able to keep a predictable load on the existing data centers. And what they discovered is that there were an identified number of product units that had the tremendous burst need for elastic compute. And so then what they've done with those workloads and with those product teams is put them on Equinix, put their data and their models into the NetApp private storage. This gives them the best of both worlds. It allows the existing data centers to be fully utilized and to be predictably utilized. And for the product groups that have bursty, unpredictable, large compute needs and modeling of analysis of their VLSI design, that's all hosted up on Equinix, and they take advantage of Amazon EC2 compute instances. They can create as many as they need to meet the compute load for the products at hand. Okay, so how does this work? So the data comes from behind premise, behind the firewall. It's replicated using a cloud ONTAP to cloud ONTAP that's located in the Equinix colo facility. Again, this is the NetApp private storage. That's connected directly up to EC2, and they can spool up, and more importantly, spool down to control their cost of any compute going on in the Amazon cloud. So in this way, what they've managed to do is to manage and optimize the use of resources in their on-premise existing data centers. What they've also done is taken advantage of the NetApp private storage, EC2, and been able to meet the elastic needs of several product teams that have sort of unbounded compute requirements for the products they're working on. Oh, sorry. Okay. So I think this slide, I apologize, I think this slide got moved. So for our products to ensure business continuity, these are to NetApp AltaVault. This used to be known as SteelStore. We just changed the name a week ago, so don't worry, you didn't miss anything. It's a brand new name. And for the needs of doing object storage, if you have a lot of data that's becoming unwieldy in a SQL or a table-structured implementation, we have an appliance that also might work for you, and it also provides a target to S3 and Glacier. Okay, so the good news is that all of our cloud products are available for you to try for free. You just go to Amazon AWS Test Drive, and there you're going to find a test drive for Cloud ONTAP, and along with that, our on-command Cloud Manager. That's our management console for Cloud ONTAP. We also have test drives for different solutions. So for example, there's solutions that have been posted that allow you to test Cloud ONTAP with SQL Server. We're just about to publish one with Oracle, okay? We have many more test drives that are being planned, and we have, if any of you are partners in the room, and you would like to publish your own version of a test drive using our products, please contact me and let me know. We'd be happy to work with you. So this next year, we expect to see many more test drives published both by NetApp, but as well as from our channel partners from around the world. POC.netapp.com. So the Japanese electronic design firm that I talked about took advantage of our proof of concept lab that we have running in 5 Equinix data centers around the world. Take a look at that site. What happens is you apply for a proof of concept. That's then sent to your local sales team who approve you. So do talk to your local NetApp sales team, and then we turn it on. And what this allows you to do is to take your Amazon AWS login, hook up the data that's stored in our lab in the Equinix facility in Tokyo, and then from a very fast pipe connecting it, test to see if the NPS design is going to work for you and your architecture. Okay, so you do have to pay for the cost of your own AWS account, but there's no cost to use the Direct Connect pipe or our Equinix Colo NPS file storage. And then finally, you can purchase Cloud ONTAP as well as the AltaVault software images up on the AWS Marketplace today. Now, one thing that's interesting is Cloud ONTAP also has in the marketplace an evaluation version of Cloud ONTAP. So you can use that. So really there's 3 different ways that you can try Cloud ONTAP. One is with the test drive, 2 with the proof of concept if you need it, and then 3 is up on Marketplace. There's 2 different ways that you can purchase Cloud ONTAP from NetApp. One is directly through the AWS Marketplace. That's probably the simplest to do. But if you prefer to buy a license that has a discount associated with it for a longer period of time, that's directly available from NetApp. Once again, contact your local NetApp sales representative. So there's more information available on the web, and I actually don't know what this says. Can somebody tell me, this does say Amazon Web Services from NetApp? Is that what that says? Okay, thank you. I also don't know what this says. Anyhow, I hope what I've been able to communicate to you today, so thank you again to my most excellent translation team in the back. And thank you all for listening to me deliver this talk today in English. We have the ability to help you in your journey to the cloud. And regardless of how much data you want to store anywhere between your premise and the cloud, our NetApp product line is there to help you with any implementation of where you want the data in the cloud, near the cloud, private cloud, or behind your firewall. So thank you very much, and have a great conference and the rest of the show. Thank you.
谷口様、ありがとうございました。